What's up, fellow polymaths? In this video of the Java Fundamentals tutorial, we'll be going over overriding methods. So with overriding methods, overriding means to override the behavior of an existing methods. The class that is doing the overriding is a subclass, or also called child class, from the existing superclass, also called parent class. Methods from the superclass and subclass have the same method signature. And for example, we have a method here that says talk to me, and they're both part of the superclass and the subclass. So basically, these two classes have the same method name and method signature. The method that is doing the overriding is specific to the subclass. If a class inherits a method from its superclass, then there is a chance to override the method provided that it's not marked as final. Basically, this means that if you have a parent class that has a specific method name and a child class that has a similar method name, you can make changes to that child class so that when that child class method is called, it overrides the actions of the parent class. So rules for overriding methods. The method signature, which is basically the return type, the list of parameters, and so on, should be the exact same name as the overridden method. The access level cannot be more restrictive than the overridden method's access level. For example, if the superclass method is declared public, then the overriding method in the subclass cannot be either private or protected. Instance methods can be overridden only if they are inherited by the subclass. A method declared final cannot be overridden. In a previous tutorial, when we were going over the final keyword, we talked about how final values or methods cannot be changed. In this case, if a method is declared as final, then the contents in that method cannot be overridden. A method declared static cannot be overridden but can be redeclared. More rules for overriding methods. If a method cannot be inherited, then it cannot be overridden. And it makes sense. To override a method, that means that the method has to be inherited from the parent class. And if that method can't be inherited, then of course it can be overridden. A subclass within the same package as the instance's superclass can override any superclass method that is not declared private or final. So as we mentioned before in the previous slide, as long as the method is not declared as final or is not restrictive access modifier, the method can be overridden by the subclass. A subclass in a different package can only override the non-final methods declared public or protected. So in this case, if you have a subclass that's contained in a different package than the superclass, then it can only override the methods that are not marked as final and the ones public or protected. An overriding method can throw any unchecked exceptions, regardless of whether the overridden method throws exceptions or not. However, the overriding method should not throw checked exceptions that are new or broader than the ones declared by the overridden method. The overriding method can throw narrower or fewer exceptions than the overridden method. And finally, constructors cannot be overridden. So now that we've read this, let's check out how we can override methods. So here we're in the animal class, and in this animal class, we want to create a method, basically a basic method. So here we're just going to create a method that says talk with a string parameter. Then we'll say something like animal name is talking. And then in our main class, what we'll do here is so that we can override that method, we're going to use the extends keyword, and we'll be learning more about inheritance later. So now that we've extended the animal class in this specific main class, we can call that talk method from the animal object. What we can also do is use that same method signature name and then customize it so that we use our own. So I'll show you an example of that. All right, so we created a method that overrides the method from the animal class with the same method signature. It's a void named talk. And as you can see here, the print line statement within this talk method of the main class is different than the one in the animal class. And I'll show you that when we make the output. So first what we'll do is create an object for the animal class and an object for the main class. So now we've created our objects, and both objects are going to be calling the talk method. So as you can see here, I passed in a dog parameter, dog string inside the animal object talk method, and then a cat parameter or a cat argument rather being passed in this talk method of the main class object. So when I run this, notice what is output in the command line. So as you see here, our result is the dog is talking and the cat is talking. So this talk method is getting retrieved from this animal class. So as we see here, the animal name talking, animal name is the variable that gets passed in whenever we call that method using this talk method right here. So as you see here, this main class object is borrowing from the animal class that it was extended, which is why it's able to output it like this. But when I uncomment this and then run the code, so as you see from this result, we still get the dog is talking when the animal object calls the talk method. But for the main class object, when it calls the talk method, instead of borrowing from the animal class talk method, instead it borrows from its own method in the main class. So in this case, it's overriding the method that was in the animal class. So that's why you see here in this output, wow, the cat is really talking. It's getting returned instead of the method from the animal class. That's one example of the powers of overriding methods. So for the super keyword references the immediate superclass. So the super keyword is used to invoke the superclass version of an overridden method. And you can use the super with parentheses, and it can be used to invoke that constructor as well. So in this case, if we have like an animal class, which is we would consider the superclass, you can use that and it'll be the same as invoking the animal constructor. The syntax to invoke the variable name from the superclass inside the subclass is super.variablename. And this is the same with the method name as well. Let's do an example with calling the super keyword. So here in this talk method, I'm going to input the super. So here, below this super printline method, I invoke the super method. So this super method is going to use a talk method from this super keyword is going to call the talk method from the animal class rather than the main class. And we can see the result from this. So we'll just run this again. Okay, so now as you can see here, with the first line, we get this, the dog is talking, which we already expect. And then the second line of the command line, we get the, wow, the cat is really talking, which we also expected. And then when it comes to that super.talk line, it then gets the cat is talking. So basically this super borrows from that animal class, because the animal class was the super class, and the main class, which extends the animal class, is a subclass or child class. I'm sure you understand more about the power of overriding. So let's go to the assignment. All right, so here's the assignment for this topic. Number 1, in your own words, what's the purpose of overriding? Number 2, true or false? A superclass marked as final can have its method overridden by the subclass. Number 3, what keyword is used to utilize the variables and methods of the superclass? Number 4, write code that overrides the method of the superclass. The code can be whatever you want as long as a method from the superclass is overridden by the subclass. If this video was of any value to you, then please leave a comment, like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.